Hello, this is Faith at Faith and Books. Good morning. It's early on Sunday morning, and I'm going to do my very last installment for May 2020 of May's for Magazine, featuring Integrity Magazine, which was a Catholic underground. The sun is rising behind me, so I'm trying to block it with my head. This was a Catholic kind of underground magazine. It wasn't really underground, but people referred to it as such, of a sort of social justice pre-Vatican II. So the issues that I have are from 1954. So it's sort of a time capsule of what was going on in the social justice arena of Catholic lay people. And this is appropriate because a lot of it is about social justice, and of course we have the terrible incident of the police killing George Floyd and all the riots that have ensued. And I have to admit, yesterday was a depressing day for me. The lockdown got to me. I was really irritable and disgruntled, and I think in the background it was just the noise of that going on, which I'm not involved in. I did see some videos of the protests in DC, and I haven't even looked at the video of the police killing Floyd and anything like that. I'm trying to limit my exposure because it can be so disturbing, and yet you just feel helpless because you're just living your little life and this huge thing is breaking. And it's so distressing and disheartening. And so that's the thing with social justice. You have to have a wide vision. You have to be perseverant. You have to just keep moving steadily forward. You have to be calm and purposeful. So the different issues that I happen to have, I'm just going to do a summary wrap up, and then I'm going to end with the cartoons. But the different issues that I have, and I think they got out of order. So this is August, and this one was about conversion. I love conversion stories. Frankly, that's sort of a genre of fiction that I don't think booktubers kind of get that into, but I really love it when people write memoirs of their conversion experience. I did talk about this one, the minority groups, which is appropriate for what's going on right now. I mean, they were just talking about integration in this one. In July 1954, Faith is Fun. I think talking about how to appeal to people to get more involved. This one was about money. I didn't read this one. This would have been interesting. One about teenagers, which I think is probably really dated. Look at that. That's a teenager. What a difference. This one, Mercy. That's appropriate for now. This one would have been interesting too. Maybe I'll do this again next year. Single Women, Sex and the Single Woman. That probably is really old-fashioned, out of date. Scripture, and then I did cover these two, Growing Old Gracefully. That was very interesting, and The Apostolate. So it was a really interesting magazine, and it took me down a really nice rabbit hole because a long time ago, not a long time ago, because it's a new organization, but maybe a year ago, I joined the Word on Fire Institute. The Word on Fire was started by Bishop Robert Barron. He's into using new media to evangelize. And the Catholic Church right now, especially in America, is just so messed up because of the whole sex abuse crisis. And there's two different iterations of it. Excuse me. There was the one back in, 2002, and then we had it again with what's his face, Cardinal McCarrick, and it's just been an ongoing thing. very, very disturbing and distressing. And you know, a lot of people are leaving the church because of it. And just in American Catholicism, there's just been such poor catechesis that we've just had such lousy leadership on the part of the bishops. There have been individual bishops who've been good, but as a body, just very not good, not good. And you can see why now when those reports came out, like from Pennsylvania, that it's just corrupt to the core. And so, but you know, Catholics who stay, we're not willing to concede defeat. We're not going to abandon the church that Jesus founded. We believe Jesus founded it, so we're going to stay and fight. And we're going to try and clean it up and make it what it's supposed to be, what Jesus calls it to be. So now I got off track. Oh yeah, so I joined Word on Fire Institute, and because of this magazine, I went to their forum and I asked about it, and I got some responses. But that made me start to explore the site more because I joined it, but then I'd sort of got distracted. And anyway, in this, looking at the book reviews, which was my favorite part of this magazine, really, I kept seeing Hans Urs von Balthasar, and I wound up. They offer a course there. Bishop Barron teaches a course on this theologian, this Swiss theologian. And so I think I'm up to lesson 7 or 8, I can't remember, but I think out of 12. But oh my gosh, it is food for the soul. It is excellent, just so profound, so amazing, just really amazing, and a lot to absorb, even though I know that he's kind of dumbing it down and summarizing it, but there's just so much food there. It just, wow. So I'm really, really enjoying it. And it took me down that path. So I'm very grateful that I decided to do Mayors for Magazine and cover this magazine because it led me to that. And it's really sort of revitalizing my faith. So, so that is a very fun thing. And now, the other thing that I want to say is, so I started going to those forums to talk more to other Catholics. And someone is starting a book club. So they're calling it 451, which is a pun on Word on Fire. So, you know, it's sort of like the optimistic flip side of Fahrenheit 451. So anyway, and so our first book is going to be the Confessions by Augustine. So we're supposed to read it in June, and then we discuss it in July, and then we read another book in July and discuss it in August. So they've lined up the readings for the first 6 months. So I'm excited. I'm joining that book club, and I'm excited. I've read Confessions. I've read a sort of redacted kind of 1960s groovy hippie translation of it a couple of times, and then I've read chunks of a straightforward translation of it. But this is, I think, the first time I'll be reading it from cover to cover. So I'm excited about that. That's on my June TBR. So that's another benefit that happened from exploring this magazine. But then I also was thinking about Catholic social justice, which is based in the idea of the common good, right? That we're supposed to be living for others, serving others, trying to be Christ-like, and we get really hemmed in by institutions and conforming to society standards and just the day-to-day, having to make a living, having to, have shelter, and also we're sort of just, I don't know, we're all penned in, we're all kind of isolated now, even more with the lockdown, but even before that, there was a feeling of isolation and feeling helpless in the face of corruption and violence and the evils that are going on right now in society. And then with this whole George Floyd, may he rest in peace thing, that's inciting so much rioting and arson and that sort of thing, it really had me thinking, that I wish we could be more proactive. Like, instead of reacting and then, I don't know, we do it over and over again. What's that definition of insanity? That if you do the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, somehow it will That's insanity. And that's what we do, like, because this has been going on. Think of, I'm remembering back to Freddie Gray and what was his name? Philandro. What was his last name? Castile. That was also in Minnesota. And then we just had the Ahmaud what was his name? Ahmaud Arbery. Can't remember his name exactly, but that just happened down in Georgia. So we have these incidences happening pretty regularly, and the approach so far hasn't been very helpful. It's very divisive. It's not working. So let's come up with a better plan. So I was having this daydream that we like formed. I was trying to think of a name of it. Citizens Lobby for Good Policing, something like that. And we could approach organizations like, say, the mayors, that group of mayors, or a governor's association, that sort of thing. Because I'm sure people have been doing research into how to better, our police force in this country. Because while I do think racism definitely plays a part in it, the truth is a lot of people of all stripes get killed by the police every year. The police have a really, really difficult job in this country. We're a very violent society. We have guns all over the place, and police every day go out knowing that they could be killed that day. And it makes, I think psychologically, it does bad things to you. It makes you trigger happy. I remember years ago, there was an incident. This was years ago, like 10 years ago, maybe more. There was a lady in the Costco that's only like a 10, 12-minute drive from my house. And she was a little Asian lady. I don't know where she was from, but I can't remember. But she was having a psychotic episode in the Costco. And they called the police on her. She didn't have a gun. She might have grabbed something off a shelf. It wasn't a gun, whatever. And she was having this psychotic, and the police officer shot and killed her. What? Like, all I could think was, couldn't he like knocked her down with a shopping cart or something? Was he like, she was this little lady. He couldn't control her. I feel like the police, psychologically, they need help. I think they need way better training. I think we need a way to call out the bad ones. I think we have a very ineffectual system because there's very much an us-them sort of mentality, kind of a circle the wagons mentality that the police get, because it's, instead of seeing themselves as public servants, not all police are. The thing is, I have police officers in my family, and good police officers want a clean police force. They want a police force that is on the up and up. They think of themselves as public servants. They want to do right. They were attracted to the job because they want to protect their fellow citizens, right? So I think there's even though I think racism is part of it because of the heritage of our country and just that we tend to see everything racially, but I think there's actually a bigger issue, which is just the violent nature of our culture and how that warps policing it. How that contributes to making the police trigger happy and too reactive because they're afraid. They never know when someone's going to whip out a gun and kill them. So they're always on the defensive. And I think that warps your psychological perceptions. And you can become a monster. You can become this brutal monster. You can just panic. I think we need to train them differently. I think we need to support them psychologically differently. I think we need to be able to keep the police forces clean of bad actors. And we've made it too hard because of this. There's this very insular thing going on with prosecutors and police officers. I worked for the public defender's office in Baltimore, and I just got a really jaundiced view of prosecutors. They're not, I mean, they're supposed to be like keeping us, they're part of the justice system, right? The thing is, everybody wants a police force. We want to be able to call on somebody when something's going wrong, right? We want that. We need that in order to maintain, you know, maintain peace, to feel safe and secure. You absolutely need the rule of law. That's when you lose the rule of law, that's when you fall into chaos and violence and civil war, right? I mean, we have somebody from Cote d'Ivoire living with us and her little boy, and who's like a grandson to me. I've raised him for 4 years now. I've helped raise him, right? But she was talking about how, from her perspective, the police are so much better here than in Cote d'Ivoire, because in Cote d'Ivoire, especially if you're a woman, unless you can pay bribes to the police, you don't have any, you do not have recourse to the court system. You don't have recourse to justice because it's so corrupt that you're afraid of the police. You're afraid of the police, because you know that they're sort of like they're like the henchmen for the government as opposed to being public servants. So even as bad as the police are here, she sort of looks at Americans like, you don't know how bad it can get. Right? She's got a complete, and it's really refreshing to have somebody with that perspective, because it's sort of, because like I said, we need a wider vision. So that's why I want to start the Citizens Lobby for Good Police, and good policing, and I want to go and find experts on how to build a strong but just police force, and how to deal with the incredibly violent society that we have. How do we have good police in light of that? That's what I would do. I want to do something proactive rather than reactive. I don't want to let anger rule me or rule our society. I want to do something for the common good, rather than something divisive. Anyway, so that's me going off on that topic. I was going to end on this note. This is a collection of the cartoons and jingles from Integrity. This guy, Ed Willock, was a cartoonist, and I just want to point out some of them. This is from 1953. Let's see. This is this Franciscan, Freedom from Want. He's free because he doesn't care about material things. Freedom from want. Now let me find the ones that oh my gosh, look at this one. Airphone Christianity, where it's all about feeling comfortable. Now wait, I should have marked them. I never prepare well enough for this. Let me find the ones. Oh, this one was pretty cutting. It says cooperation. He wrote these jingles too that go along with the cartoons he drew. It says, Mrs. Babbitt spends her days helping those who are in need. Mr. Babbitt works hard too, so she can find enough to do. So he's a businessman out there spreading, spreading the situation that causes need, and then she's out there trying to undo his work. Where he really was against, where's the one guy? So that this was another one, freedom of the press. I feel like this too. I feel like the press thinks that its job is to make us all feel hysterical about what's going on. They just whip up frenzy. And there we go. Freedom of the press, the freedom to tell us all the horrible acts that go on every day. But where is the one that I really, really wanted to... Oh, this one's good too. Look at that. Student most likely to succeed. There we go. Conformity, I guess. All right, wait. There was one. I'm going to find it that I really liked. And it's only gotten worse, because he's protesting TV and the effects that TV is having on society, but we've got so much more. You know, we've got so much more to distract us and manipulate us. Where is it? Hold on. It's in here somewhere. Here we go. I love this one. Opiates are the religion of the people. There's the guy in front of the boob tube with all his magazines or whatever, and his drink. Yeah, opiates are the religion of the people. That, I think, is quite telling. Anyway, so that's it's 20 minutes now. I'm so sorry. But I'm going to end there. You know, it's a rough time right now, and, you know, I'm really glad that I stumbled on this. You know, it's really helped me and led me to some interesting things. And, you know, I really want to start the citizens lobby for good policing. I think that's the way to go, and get everybody involved, and try to be proactive. Because, you know, it's going on in piecemeal in different areas. You know, they're trying to reform it. But we need to make it like a national movement, not a reactive one, but a proactive one, and a national movement. We need really good PR to have it out in front of everyone that we're trying to do things. You know, anyway, I'm not being very articulate, so I think I'll go for now. All right, talk to you later. Bye-bye.